going on, y'all? One Mad Z. Finally got this thing back together again. Still on jack stands because got some stuff to button up down there, but other than that, everything is back on. Bumpers back on, yes sir. Got that, got my lights back in there. Everything is back on. As you can see, still jacked up. That's because the jack I have does not reach up high enough to be able to take it down, so I gotta wait for my buddy to come back with his jack so we can actually do that. Take it off the stand, and then we'll be ready to start this thing, hopefully this weekend, maybe, if possible. Maybe so. Anyway, that's a real big stretch. 265s, 30, 19s, something like that. I can't wait to get this thing back on the road. It's been down for almost 2 years in this thing, sitting in this garage in this position. But last week I mounted all this back together again, got the lights in there, did the hood, all that. Back together again. Yes, my interior is done. Didn't want it to be overtly wild, but carbon over there, carbon over here, carbon over there, carbon there, carbon there. Only thing that's not carbon is this center waterfall, but I like it this way. I didn't want to make it carbon anyway. Look at that. Let's pop this open. There we go. So I found some bare connections right there, so I pulled those up, undid those. I'm having a buddy come through and actually do a couple of wire checks for me before we even try to start this thing, and we'll just make sure everything is good. But as far as everything else goes, it looks like we might be back in working order and ready to go out on the street. But once that happens, I definitely don't want to do One Mad Z again. I'd like to do something different. Already got a name picked out, nobody's got it, so it might just be that. Might be doing it that way. But so far, everything went back together, no problem at all. I didn't have any difficulty finding bolts and things like that because I had everything categorized, which if you're gonna do this yourself, for sure, you need to have this, and you need to have the, the service manual from the dealership, because this, it does a great job at explaining how to do things, but the service manual has diagrams and schematics, and this thing's got schematics, but it only has electrical schematics. It does not have actual physical schematics for, like, let's say the engine or anything like that. So if you really want stuff like that, then you're gonna have to get the service manual. But you got to make sure that you categorize everything. And so I had it all in 3 tubs worth, actually 4 tubs worth. And then I had everything in individual bags. And then I wrote all that stuff on here, so I knew what was what and what was in where. So my original injectors, because there was nothing wrong with these injectors, but the injectors that I have on there are actually upgraded injectors, so they flow a little bit more than the stock ones. But being that these still work just fine, I decided to keep them, because you never know if you got to do a test or something like that. So I kept those injectors, and then there were some other little bolts, but I have a couple of spare transmission bolts which I had from a previous build that I did, and so I kept those also, because you just never know. But anyway, glad to see that this is back in order, so hopefully we can figure that little situation out with the electrics, and then we can start it, and hopefully everything goes well with that, from purchasing this motor to just having everything set like it's supposed to. So hopefully everything works out. I've got the power steering, I've got coolant in there. Obviously, once this thing gets started and the coolant circulates, I'm gonna have to put another 5 quarts up in here. The manual said 8.7 to 9 quarts of coolant for a refill on the fluid coolant system or whatever. So I got one more jug to buy, but this thing's full of oil, ready to go. I'm only gonna run this for about maybe 100 miles, and then I will change it out to full synthetic, new filter. I'm debating on if I want to actually do a motor flush on this, because what I have heard and I know is true is that sometimes when you do a motor flush, that residue can sometimes get lodged in these little ports, and if there's like carbon deposit buildups that break off, they can clog up some of those little intricate little oil pores and ports and things like that, and you can wind up actually causing a problem by doing that. So I may not do a motor flush in this thing, but I will definitely, like I said, I'm running it through with the oil. I may drive it a little hard initially, just to try to work that stuff through there, and open it back up and drain it, and then refill it. We'll see. But when we took this motor apart, there wasn't any physical kind of debris or anything like that at the bottom of the oil pan, so that was a really good sign. Didn't hear anything jingling around or anything like that. And then after we replaced everything and did all that stuff, everything was sound. Everything's nice and clean. So hopefully, man, hopefully this thing goes well. You might be wondering what that is. My little induction ram air that I did myself. Just using an existing panel that came on the vehicle. It's been so long. But that there's a short throw on there, plus the lightweight flywheel, lighter clutch. I kind of sat in here a couple days ago and today on my lunch break, going through these gears, just trying to get a feel for the throws again. I'm definitely going to have to get used to that again, because it's been a long time since I've even thrown gears. Shoot, 2 years, literally 2 years. So next video should be a startup. Hopefully. I'm expecting to see a little bit of smoke, just because it's been sitting for a while, and being that this motor's got all new fluid, sometimes that does happen. So, but if it doesn't, then that's great. Then it'll just be checking for fluid leaks over the next couple of days after it started. But after that, it should be good. Till next time. Oh yeah. A little bit of people peeking through there.